Wagwan Bear Generals and Bear Generals. Welcome back to the Shift Gear podcast. I am at home at 8 a.m. and recording the Shift Gear podcast. What has gotten into us here?
I don't know, Aneil. This is your schedule
we
this
just
week.
be Oh man, we became busy mons, bro, and it's a unfortunate time to be busy mons. 'Cause we have a very eventful weekend to kind of go through and recap. Um, yeah, so interesting, I guess, doesn't even or eventful doesn't even really encapsulate the whole thing. So we have a few things we're gonna have to get into here. But first of all, how was the weekend outside of Pokemon? Did you have fun? I know you housed a bunch of mans. How was that whole thing?
Yeah, it was good. I had three of my American friends come stay with me. Become almost a mainstay that happens every Toronto regional, which is nice. We normally actually stay at my parents' house since my apartment's not big enough for everyone.
Mm,
And the really nice thing was my whole family was at regionals this weekend. My parents, both my sisters came, my aunt, my uncles, my cousins, my grandpa even made an appearance, which was really nice,
true
honestly.
legend.
Um,
Yeah.
I think I posted on Twitter if you follow me. Like my grandpa took me to my very first cities, our tournament, like back like 13 years ago, the one in Pickering and Yale.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and like the fact that he came was awesome because I think my family like they always hear so much about Pokemon. Like they haven't been to a tournament in so long, so I think especially for my parents and my sister, seeing like the growth. Like the last time they would have gone to a regional or something would have been like Big and Funworks or something.
That's
So
crazy.
yeah, and it was really nice that my grandpa came. Like he unfortunately has like Parkinson's, and it's really hard for him to like go places. Like I haven't
Yep.
seen him actually like outside of his condo in like honestly like a long time. So it like he really wanted to come, and like it meant a lot to me that he was there.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna lie, I got a little bit emotional when I saw him after my round. So um,
There you go.
yeah, it was really nice that he was there. So no, it
Your
was a good
grandpa
weekend.
actually took me to my first city win,
Really?
unironically. Yeah. We went to that one in like Aurelia or something when it was like really snowy. And
Oh,
that was
and you
my
think
first
you're
city win.
thinking you're thinking my other grandpa.
Am I? Is it the
Yeah.
wrong grandpa? Oh
Yeah.
shoot! Oh, one of your grandpas took me. I don't
But
know,
yeah, I know I
man.
remember that tournament too.
Yeah,
You beat me in that one. I was playing what was I
the
playing? Ho or something?
Ho-Oh Sigilyph,
Yeah.
Ho-Oh with which is
Yeah.
tough. I was playing Darkrai Mewtwo, which is good
Classic.
deck.
Yeah.
Yeah, I saw
Um,
your mom in between rounds. She's like, "Yo, what's up?" And I was like, "Who the hell is this?" And I was like, "What's going on?" I look behind me and it's your mom. I'm like, "What are you
yeah.
doing here? What's going on?" So no, it's nice that the fam came out for sure.
Yeah.
And then yeah, like Kieran's place, just for reference for all y'all, like it's a little bit out of the downtown core, but his house can house probably like 20 mans. So it was always the spot. Kieran's house, the Kieran Airbnb went crazy. My buddy was able to get a hotel room for us for the night, so we were on the Deloitte corporate floor, which has a
Ah,
snack
nice.
bar built in. Yeah, and so we were fiending at the snack bar, doing as boys do, and I slept on the ground for 2 nights, so my back and my spine are really happy to have my bed back. Other than that, fantastic weekend. Can't complain, but I want to get into kind of well, actually, first thing I got to address is Tyler. Thank you so much for this hat, man. This is pretty dope. Seeing all these people at Toronto Regionals, and there's a lot of gifts and stuff. So I'm gonna go over those real quick. We have a couple things I want to go over. So first of all, I need to give a fast shout out to Trevor because he did something insane. Okay, this card right here that I'm holding in my hand. Also like this cowboy hat kind of works. I'm growing in my stash, so it's kind of looking cowboyish. Um, but this card right here, Karen, you're not gonna believe what this says on it. Okay,
Yeah.
so Trevor gave me two of these, and he said, "Yo, I got something crazy for you," and I couldn't believe this. So I'm just gonna skip the talks. I have two of these. I'm gonna give one to you. I'm gonna show y'all. If you're on Spotify, I'm sorry. Do you see what that says?
Oh, come on.
It said, oh shoot, it's so unclear. It says it's a card that says Ogremon. Like it's not fake. It's a real Digimon card, and this is like a real dude in the game. His
That's
name is
funny.
Ogremon. And so he gave me two of these. So now I have two level 4 ogre mods. I'm gonna give you one of those. So shout out to Trevor, awesome gift. And the other thing I got to shout out is Dan Huger, good friend of the podcast. He bought us for this at Worlds and didn't have a chance to give it to
Oh,
us, but they're
nice.
Clink Clank pins. So when I see you, I'll hand you over some Clink Clank pins. So
Nice.
thank you to Dan as well. That's awesome. All right, so let's hop into what the people came here to see. So let's go over your weekend. We'll start with you. Kind of take us through it. What happened? Obviously, we know the end result, which was awesome, or also not awesome, I guess, if you look at it in another light. But generally, very successful weekend. So maybe take us through that.
Yeah, I mean, I think it wasn't a surprise I was gonna play Lugia.
Mhm.
I mean, I don't know. I think the deck went down in play way too much. I think, as I said last week, I think it was still fine. Um, I'm pretty sure, like the meta, I'm pretty sure I predicted it pretty well. Miraidon wasn't really a thing. Dragapult Thorns was kind of a thing, but like not really. Like the deck was nowhere near the top tables. All the best players are playing Regidrago. So I had a really good time. Like I'll pull up my matchups here. I didn't play 2 Charizards, that's bugged, but everything else is right. So I played against, if you include the ID, like 7 Dragos.
That's
so
pretty nuts.
yeah, it was just like pretty good matchups for me. I didn't see a single. Actually, I saw 2 Lightning decks. If you count Lost Box and Regigigas Pikachu. But no, I had a pretty good weekend. I played my Lugia 60 I've been playing for a long time. I cut one of the Mist Energies for the Water Ogre Pun. Just because you can sob against Miraidon, you can sob against Golden Go, and then Gardevoir it's pretty good to do Torrential Pump or whatever it's called. So yeah, it was like pretty good tournament. Like the first 4 rounds are pretty easy. Round 2 I hit Alex Shemansky, which is always annoying to hit a great player in round 2, but I was able to get the win. If you guys watch my stream game, I played against a Regigigas Pikachu deck, which is like probably one of the worst matchups I could think of for Lugia, because I don't have a good way to deal with Pikachu EX in my deck. And the first game I got lucky, he didn't really set up and he scooped when I don't really think he needed to scoop. The second game was like I was getting washed, and then some interesting plays let me come back in, and then I was misplaying because I was knocking out his Regigigas instead of his Regidrago because I thought he might play the other Regidrago that does 240. But I was informed yesterday by Jackson Ford that Regidrago rotated.
Yeah, that does not exist anymore.
I was playing around a card that didn't exist, which was really funny. Nice. So escaping a tie in that round was good for me. So that game's on the stream. I had a Gardevoir deck. The first game, I can't remember exactly why I lost, but then I remember the last 2. One game I just got going, the other game he didn't get going. I faced a Lugia mirror where I went first in the first game, and in the second game I was able to use hands better. Round 7, I have like an interesting question. We can discuss this. So I lost game 1, and then they go to deck check us between games, and they take our deck, and like when it takes longer than like 8 minutes, like something's wrong, right? Mm-hmm. So 10 minutes has passed. I look at the end of the table. I just see like 5 judges convening, and I see some of like the more higher profile judges convening. So I'm like, okay, something's very wrong, right? Mm-hmm. And they come back to our table, and they say that my opponent, one of their cards is like very like easily identifiable from the deck. They can always pick it out, and it was the Prime Catcher. And so they gave him a game loss since they said it wasn't malicious, and like I don't think it was malicious either. And they said it was because of his sleeve, right? I don't know. He's using some white sleeve. I don't know what brand. And so I had my watch. So I'm like the whole thing, like from when they took our decks to come to explain to us, took 21 minutes. So I don't know if it was the Hedger tournament or whatever, but he said we're getting a 16-minute extension. I'm like, guys, this makes no sense. This just took 21 minutes, and like you just told my opponent he has to re-sleeve. And they said there's a new rule this year from TPCI that the longest for an extension you can give is 16 minutes because they want to keep the tournaments running. And I was like, that like makes no sense because like that just like hurts the competitive integrity of the game. Because then I'm like, so I said to him, I'm like, so just so I'm clear, this took 21 minutes. My opponent still has to re-sleeve, and then we still get 16 minutes. And he's like, yes. So I was like, okay, well, if that's the rule, like it's not the judge's fault they're enforcing it. But I'm like, this is ridiculous. So by the time my opponent like re-sleeved his deck and everything, and we started game 3, like the whole thing took probably like half an hour. So we like just 14 minutes of gameplay like just got sent to the lost zone, which I guess was probably the time that would have taken us to play game 2 anyways. But I don't know, my opponent was very flustered in the third game, like as it makes sense, right? You just got a game loss, there's less time, and I think he played a little suboptimal, so I won that one. So I don't know, I feel like I won that round not because of my play, just because of like outside factors.
Yeah, that's a weird rule. Like I get why it exists. I just feel like there's got to be a better way to implement
it just shouldn't exist. Like it's like this is a competition. Like the most important thing about a competition is competitive integrity. So you're just completely circumventing that with a rule like that. So it's actually funny. All the judges at the table who were explaining the rule to us, like they all told me and my opponent to send in a support ticket because they also think it's ridiculous. So yeah, I don't know. That's really bad. I didn't know that was a thing this year. So hopefully they get rid of that soon. Because I know it sucks when rounds take a while, but I mean, like if that's the thing, like you should make sure that people are actually playing their games with the proper amount of time. Or like honestly, like I think the judges could have made the call like much sooner than they did. Like I don't think it needed to take that long for them to come to that conclusion.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like if there's gonna be a rule like that, there has to be some sort of standard in terms of like how long the judges are taking. Like if we're gonna speed up how long is allowed for a time extension, then the judges also kind of have to speed up what they're doing, just in interest of integrity of the game. So
Because I think what
I'm just glad I'm not the
happens,
only one who didn't know the rules fully this weekend.
yeah, I think what happens, I think what happens is like the judges, like the first judge goes to like the next judge, and then that judge goes to the head judge. When really what should happen probably is like you just maybe consult one judge above you, you go give the ruling, and then if someone wants to appeal, bring the head judge instead of just like going straight to head judge. So I don't know. If you're a judge, in the comments, let me know your thoughts on this rule. Maybe what can be improved. And to close out the day, I hit pretty good matchups. I hit like a Palkia Dustnor. I hit Stefan, so one of the best players in the world. I mean, the matchup was free, so it didn't really matter what he did. Round 9, I hit Moffat. Game 1, I hit the Nuts. Game 2, I think he played a bit poorly, and then like I just set up, so I won.
Did he tell you who he hit in round 1
of the tournament?
Yeah, did Moffat tell you?
No, did he hit you?
No, he hit Estrada, and Estrada wasn't there.
Oh, nice.
He gets to his table. He's like, "Yo, hit Andrew, whatever," right? And then Andrew's just on a plane somewhere overseas, and he just wasn't there. So I found that to be hilarious.
That's funny.
Just Moffat versus Andrew round 1. There's no Andrew. Why does it go from round 9 to 11?
Because there's a bug where like round 3 is there twice, so then like it just goes to 11.
Oh, I see.
But that's round 10. Yeah, I hit Grant Shen. Like going to day 2, I knew it was like Drago, Bolt at the top. So I hit G Shen, which is probably the best one because he was playing Drago with no Sinnoh. Game 1 was a farm. And then game 2, I started Fish. I had to bench Skullhawk. And then like he like researched and Vstar powered and whiffed E-Switch, which always feels bad in your Drago. Yeah, but then I didn't get a knockout on my turn 2. So the game was actually kind of close. I pulled that one out. Round 11, I faced Bolt, which I hate. Bolt's my least favorite matchup, not because it's bad or anything. It's just like it's super stupid. Like there's no, it's like literally just like, do you set up or not? And I think my opponent wasn't very experienced in the matchup because he chose to go first, which was I was super hyped for. And I pretty much set up actually pretty well in this game, and he beat me with Briar at the end. I'm like, why do you play Briar, bro?
Fair enough.
Because I had an all single prize board, and then like with Cinchino at the end, and then he like knocked out Briar. Then game 2, I set up and I won. Then game 3 was super frustrating. I prized Legacy and I prized Jock, and if I had either of those in my deck, I would have just won the game outright because he missed turn 1 attack. And then I couldn't fish for Jock, and I had Ultima in my hand. And actually, funny, like my opening hand, I went first. He made me go first game 3, so he adjusted. I had research double chops, and he played Iono turn 1. I'm like, bro, the one time I want you to play like Swada, you play that. So
Raging Bolt is infuriating for many reasons. That's why.
Yeah. Then next round, basically I had to win. I faced Riley, Canadian. It was just Drago. Game 1 was close actually because Riley played Sinnoh. Like I owned me to 1, and I just hit boss because I'm him. And then the next game, I think he went a little too greedy. I had on my board was like Lugia. The active had a double turbo, and the bench didn't have one. He did bundle to knock out the one on the bench because he didn't want me to evolve and boss one of his ogre pawns. But then he like left himself open to me just weird earring his only Drago with all his energy, which I hit. So won that one. And then going to the last round, so I could ID and like guarantee Asim, or I could just play it out and like dodge. And I hit Caleb Gedimer, who was playing Drago with no temple, so I considered playing. But I looked going into it in the round, like my resistance was the highest by a lot of the 32 pointers. And Henry Chow got down paired to Stefan. So Henry's playing Guardy, Stefan was playing Palkia. So I was like, okay, it's more likely than not that Henry loses that. And then like at least one 32 pointer is going to dodge Asim. And then if any of the other matches like tie, then even more 32s dodge Asim. And I was like, okay, even if I have to play Asim, like the bottom table or the tables that would play in Asim, they're literally all just like Drago and like Pidgeot control. So I was like, I'll just ID because there's a decent chance I just dodge Asim. And if I make Asim, it's probably a good matchup. So Henry, just guy's the biggest plot armor I've ever seen, wins against Palkia Dustnor, and then no one tied. So then all of us had to play Asim. But I hit Regidrago with no Sinnoh. So it's like the exact same situation I was in anyways. I think it was good. And I drew. I know people say this all the time, but I legitimately think I had like the unluckiest round of Pokemon I've had in like years. Like I didn't get a Lugia down until turn 3 both games. Game 1, my opponent got a DPL, so I still could have won. And he like Iono'd me to 6, and all I had to do was draw a Cinchino to win. Because then next turn I just had boss for a game. And I flipped Tails on Capture Aroma, Tails on Mesagoza. It was like the most, and like I like didn't have any Luminions left because I had to get rid of both of them. So that was just so frustrating. And then game 2, like I don't even think I took a prize. I just couldn't set up. So it was like I've lost like a lot of high stakes games in my Pokemon career, but I don't think I've ever been as crushed or as devastated as that one, because it really felt like this was the tournament I was going to win. The bracket was like so free. Like if I won that round, like top 8 was Drago no Sinnoh. If I won that round, top 4 was Drago no Sinnoh. If I won that round, it was Drago with Sinnoh, which I think is still favored. And just the fact that it was like in Toronto, that I thought I could win my first tournament would have like meant a lot to me, because like I think besides winning Worlds, like I'd rather win Toronto Regionals than like any other tournament. Like I'd honestly rather win Toronto than win like any of the ICs. So it was just super crushing and frustrating because I really couldn't do anything. And it's just like such bad luck. It just, as I was playing, it's just like so annoying. So I just like felt so cruel. Like obviously it's just like bad luck, but like I'm not gonna lie, like I had to hold back like tears at the table. Like that's how much it meant to me. You know, I remember like I just wanted to get my prizes, get out of there. I kind of went to like the outside of the convention center, and I just like kind of decompressed for a while. Like my family was there. Like I remember like my dad came up after, so like gave me a hug. And, you know, like I kind of broke down a bit, and then like I just like sat like in the corner like outside for like half an hour, just like it really sucked. Like it's like really, I've never been that upset. I feel like at a loss. Like I've lost like to get knocked out of Worlds before, and like I think this one was just like more upsetting to me because of how much it meant to me. But one of my kids made the finals. Big shout out to Adrian. So like, you know, I like waited. I composed myself. I went back in, and like I just went to cheer him on, which was great as well. And then, you know, I was just like, after that, I was just like happy. Like one of the nice things was I had a lot of my students there this weekend. They were all there. My dad was talking with Tablemon about Mexican politics, which was funny that I got to witness.
What the hell?
It was a good discussion. Yeah, and then just like seeing all the people was nice. So I got over it like pretty quickly in the moment. It's probably gonna sting for a while until I win something, I think. But like reflecting back on it, it's still like a great result, right? Like I've played 3 regionals this season. I've made top cut at all 3, which is honestly absurd, to be honest. Like
It's ridiculous. Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like I'm playing just like really, 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 really good Pokemon this season. I know I've discussed it before, but like, I mean, I've gone to full-time Pokemon. Like I'm playing an absurd amount of hours every week, and I've definitely seen the payoff. Like I feel like so many of my rounds this weekend I can attribute to like I won because I just like I feel like I played better than my opponent. So yeah,
Does
that's
full-time Pokemon ruin lives? This is what we're going to be opening the door to now.
so
I've never seen Ciaran care this much about Pokemon before. Does full-time Pokemon ruin lives? Maybe.
Yeah. Well, I think it's like just
like honestly speaking.
Yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
I was just saying, it's just like I keep getting like so close, right? It's like it's so annoying that it hasn't happened yet. But I mean, like I know, like it's gonna happen. So.
Well, honestly speaking, too, like you have like for all 3 of the top cuts, you played a deck you're very comfortable with. You have a deck that you love, and a lot of people, myself included, have a strong distaste for this format. But I understand that like when you have a deck that you like, that's also good, that like is getting you good results, like you're gonna enjoy it a lot more. So I guess my question to you overall would be, are you enjoying Pokemon even though you're full time and you're so immersed in it now?
Yeah, I mean, I think I love it. Like on Friday, like at regionals, what I do too is I get all my students together and like they all play, and like I'm there. I think I had like 20 juniors and seniors playing at this tournament, which was awesome.
There was 20 Utes at the table. I did count.
Yeah. Yeah. I think 3 of them made top cut, which is awesome.
Nice.
So yeah, like there's stuff just outside of tournaments that I enjoy a lot. I think how just you know, the community is like so awesome in general. I just think the game is fun. Like you said, I have a deck that I feel like I'm good at. When rotation comes, we'll see what happens. So I'm sure I'll find a new deck. But yeah, it's always nice when you play a format and it's like you have a deck that you like. I can play this one every time, and I know what I'm doing. I don't have to worry about deck selection before a tournament, which is really nice. So
awesome. Yeah, and it's unfortunate the way you got bounced out, but that's what this format does feel like. It feels like if you miss a beat, you get kind of punished, and you missed a few beats there, to say the least.
I mean, like just to put in perspective, though, like a lot of things had to go right for me to go that deep in the tournament. So it's like it's always like I have to reflect on that as well. Like I hit no Iron Thorns decks, right? So that was always nice. But
it's like when you play blackjack, right? When the dealer hits 21, you remember it a lot more than when you hit 21.
Exactly.
Right? That's
so,
exactly what it is. So.
Yeah. Yeah.
Awesome. Okay, well, dude, fantastic run again. See, it sucks because like you're so close, but it's gonna happen eventually. It's gonna
Yeah.
come. Um, what I'll go over real quick, and I didn't want to. I've gone back and forth a lot about whether I wanted to go over this, even address this, and I think that there's a there's nothing good that can come out of this for me personally. Like 99.9% chance that only negative things can come out of this, but I feel like as someone with a platform, it's my responsibility to kind of educate when I can and hopefully others can learn from my mistakes sometimes. So, I'm going to address why I got DQ'd from Toronto Regionals. If you came here for some drama, you're not going to get it. It's not cheating, it's not malicious. But I will address exactly what happened. So, to put it in context, I basically didn't know a rule crossed into the boundaries of coercion, I guess is what they call it, slash bribery. To put it in full context, I was in round 9, and we were playing for, I don't know, some sort of bracket for points. I think it was 5-12, and basically a tie knocks us both out, me and my opponent. And we basically just decided, like, hey, I need the points, or need, quote unquote. I would prefer the points, I guess, and she would prefer the packs. So we just kind of came to a conclusion like, hey, you just take the packs, I'll take the points. And we came to a natural tie anyway, so it worked out pretty well. Or so I thought. And then I got to the bar that night and I see my name crossed out in RK9 and I see my opponents as well. And or sorry, you saw my name crossed out. I saw a game loss on my RK9 and I was like, the hell's going on here? What's going on? And I didn't think too much of it. It's kind of whatever. To be honest, like whether I was DQ'd or not didn't really matter too much to me at that moment, and like I still don't think it matters too much to me at this time. Like I don't really care that much. I more feel terrible for my opponent. I didn't want her to have to go through that, but we both basically had no idea what we were doing was wrong, and you could tell we didn't because we were not trying to be secretive or quiet in any way, shape, or form, and probably talked a little louder than we should have about it. And because we see people do it all the time at cups and stuff. Like when you get to the finals, like, hey man, you take the prizing, I'll take the points. Or even, dude, like 2 tables down from me, there were 2 dudes like hashing out the exact same deal, and they didn't get caught. So I just didn't really know that crossed into the lines of coercion. It's not like I sat down and I said, hey, I'll PayPal you $100. Um, Kind of just didn't know that prize splitting from the event itself was not allowed. So I came in the next day and I went to the judges. I talked to them and I had a great conversation with them. I was fully transparent. I just said, "Hey guys, like I genuinely just didn't know. My bad." And they were super appreciative. They put in a support ticket for me, saying that I was cooperative, et cetera, et cetera. And they said, "Yeah, I just couldn't have you continue in the tournament, even though it was one judge who found it, who heard it and reported it in. So no issues with that judge. I understand they're just doing their job, but it was a very costly lesson for me to learn, and one that I'm happy to learn, and I'm happy to kind of give off to the community as well to kind of show that sometimes. And what I think I should have done is I probably should have asked the judge first. I probably should have asked like, "Hey, is this allowed?" I just never really thought about it. I never really thought that it wasn't allowed. So no, I'm not a cheater. No, I did not have any malicious intent. And if you think I'm a cheater, I don't know what to tell you because if I was a cheater, I wouldn't be down at that table to begin with. Uh, so yeah, that's kind of the story of what happened to me at Toronto Regionals. My play I thought was actually really clean throughout the weekend. I played well in my opinion. Just didn't fall for me. I was out at a random tie that I probably should have taken a loss on. I probably should have just scooped and moved on because it put me in a control bracket and then I was in hell. So I thought I made a good choice. I played Drago, no Spiritomb. I regret not playing Spiritomb. But my love for the game was dwindling a little bit coming into this weekend. I'm not gonna lie. It still kind of is, and this whole situation didn't really help. I found that I've understood myself a lot more recently, and like what I enjoy, and I really enjoy traveling. I really enjoy hanging out with the fellas and going out and stuff, and but just the format itself has felt really stale for me since Worlds. I haven't really found anything that I really click with. Feels like there's a lot of just random like degen stuff, and I know I'm not alone in thinking that. Just like Briar and Dustnor and these random like kind of offsetting cards. There's no comebacks anymore because of Fez, and I don't want to sit here and complain, but that's just kind of how I felt about the format, and this whole thing didn't really help. So just trying to turn a page and kind of move on, but a very costly lesson learned and one I wanted to share to everybody to kind of hope that none of you go through this as well. And now you know that this is not allowed, and moving forward, we'll all know together. So yeah, that was my debacle. That was my little speech. I was trying to be very careful with what I said, and I want to give a shout out to Austin Charles. I played him around 2. He's a Shift Gear listener. Top 8'd last year. I think it was Fort Wayne with Gudra. I played him in round 2, and he was very, very helpful in helping me articulate what to say and even to address it. Because honestly, like this happens to hundreds of people a year, and nobody really addresses it, and especially the top players. They just kind of let it go under the rug because all it can do is paint you in a bad light, right? It's almost better just to kind of forget about it. But I feel like this is a learning moment for everybody. So yeah, I apologize to the judges. I apologize to Pokemon. It wasn't my intention, but that is what happened.
Did they DQ you there? Or no, you just like later saw he got DQ'd.
I left right after the tournament.
Okay, it was an
I was
after
very
thing.
ready to get a beer, so I just dipped. But they called me on the PA, and I wasn't there. So I went
Oh,
in the next morning around 11, and they're like, "Yeah, we were calling you, but you weren't there, and we wanted to talk to you." So they were gonna talk to me, and they were
okay,
gonna
okay.
kind of just explain what happened. So yeah, I feel like I said, I feel more bad for my opponent than I feel bad for myself. I can deal with it. I don't really care. I've never been DQ'd in my life in 15 years. I've never had an issue in my life, so I can deal with it. I'm not really pressed, but I do feel bad for my opponent who's not going to get the packs, or they might have to deal with the repercussions as well. So
Nice. Oh,
yeah,
cool. All right. Well, glad we addressed that. um,
yeah, just had to let that out there, man. There's so many people asking me, and I know people were asking you like, "Hey, what happened to this guy?" And like, I don't want people's minds wandering thinking I'm a cheater or anything. Because like, if y'all know me, you listen to this podcast, I don't care enough to cheat. So
bro, if you cheat when you're like, what
that's the
was your
truth.
record? Like 4-3-1 or something? Like
No, I was 4-2-2.
4-2-2? Yeah.
Yeah,
Then
there's no way. Yeah, I should not. Nobody's cheating down there, man. It was. I literally just hit. I was actually doing well on the day. Then I hit the Snorlax Mimikyu Klefki thing
yeah, that
with
one's so
boxed
hard to
order
beat. Yeah.
that I can't beat, and I hit Pidgeot with Black Curum because I went
Nice.
in the tie bracket, and it was just, oh man, what a disaster. So it was actually a good day, just kind of derailed by a little string of bad luck, and then me not knowing the rule book.
Yeah, that's like the nice thing now. It turns like if you get to the top tables, like you can normally just start facing Drago instead of facing all this other random stuff. Like
Yeah, I saw one Drago the whole day. Like I was,
yeah,
that's why I didn't play Tomb, because I like everyone on this pod knows I loved Spiritomb and Drago, and like if I played it, I would have had a much better day. But I didn't play it because I'm like 20% of the meta is probably gonna be Drago. I don't need this.
yeah, that's
You
funny.
get a lot of jank down there.
Yo, speaking of cheating, do you see that video of the guy from I think it was Peru or something?
No,
Oh, bro, I gotta show you this. How crazy this was.
someone cheated.
Yeah. Wait. Okay, wait. Okay, so this player on the left. Okay,
Hmm.
watch the deck. Watch the hand. Watch the hand. You see that?
Yeah.
No, you missed it,
Wait.
bro.
Oh, did he like?
Go back. Okay,
Oh,
he literally has like he put like 7 cards he wants to start with in his right hand, and he palms
that
them
was
on
so slick. I
top.
didn't even
That's what I'm
notice.
saying, on top of his deck.
What the hell?
Yeah, so
What's
kind
in
of
the hand?
crazy.
Does it show what's in
I
the
don't know if
hand?
it shows us in the hand when he draws it. Just like, do you see that? And then he puts it down.
Like as
So
a cheater, do you put like all 7 cracked cards to the top, or do you think that's too like is it too obvious? What's the cheater mentality here?
I mean, I feel like if your opponent didn't notice, like you could put whatever. But I feel like you like. I feel like if you put like 7 perfect cards, it might get too suspect. Like, if you put like the literal nuts, you know?
Yeah, there is Skeen, or a good friend Adam Skeen was telling me a story this weekend about, and you know this story, I think, about this one kid who used to go to Mississauga locals who he had like a bit of a, he was like a little bit like slower, and he basically would wait for you to turn away, and he'd search his deck for 4 lucky clovers, put it in his
Yes,
hand,
I remember.
and then put a basic in it, and then on turn 1 he's just like, yeah, I have 4 clovers, and he just takes a prize. And like he didn't mean it, he's just a kid, right? So it's not a big deal. But I remember that. Like that's why I kind of like went through this. Like, is it too obvious if you put 4 VIPs to the top of your deck? Like, I don't know.
So yeah, so that was crazy. Doing it on camera is also crazy. Kind of reminds me of
Yeah.
Worlds, that one guy they caught with the bog. So I'm sure
Who was
whoever this,
recording this? Was this like a random
I
guy?
don't know. Like I feel like this maybe was like a league cup or something.
Hmm.
The explanation's in Spanish, and I don't
You can
know.
read Spanish, can't you?
I can kind of read Spanish, but I'm not gonna try and do it live on the pod. Uh, so
Interesting. All right. Well,
yeah, in the
I can't
finals,
be
the
the only
League
one.
Cup,
So this is someone else speaking
they
on
have
behalf of the
evidence.
cheater,
Yeah,
I guess,
yeah,
right?
yeah. During the game, whoever this person is. Oh, this guy's name is also Eder. That's kind of funny.
That's insane.
Yeah, so he put 7 cards on the deck.
Probably just explaining what exactly we just
Yeah.
saw.
So they said they sent it to
Interesting.
TPCI, so I'm sure this guy will get banned. As he should.
I'd hope
So
so. Yeah, I'd hope
um
so.
yeah, so all right, moving on, we can actually discuss the results of Toronto Regionals. We had 6 Regidrago decks in top 8. With Cal Connor getting his first win. We had a Raging Bolt in top 4. I thought Vince was gonna win the tournament, to be honest. I think his bracket was all Drago. I don't know what happened in his top 4 match, but he just couldn't pull it out. And Hassan got top 8 with Pidgeot control. So I'll just start with Cal's list. Honestly, like none of these Regidrago lists are that exciting, to be honest.
No, they're not exciting.
They're literally all just like cookie cutter lists we've seen for like the past 3 months. He did play Sinnoh, which is lame.
One Dragapult, I still don't understand how people do this.
Well,
like, it just doesn't. I don't
yeah.
like it.
He doesn't play Terra Orb either, and he played 1.
The amount of times, dude, that I sat there this weekend and I was like, I do not have an attacker and I have to Vstar or I pass was insane. And
Well,
I played 2 Dragon Balls. I played 5
think
attackers.
the odds of getting an attacker is the same because everyone's playing Gudra now, and before people weren't playing Gudra and they're playing Exeggutor. It's just like, yeah, if you need Dragapult and you prize it, it's I think the main thing now. And just naturally
the
you're gonna
best
see
attacker, like by far.
I mean, I think almost everyone played 1 Dragapult. Like,
Crazy.
yeah, Callie played 1. Gadamer played 1. Zing played 1. Labella played 2.
Oh,
Labella
Labella,
played 2.
man of class, bro. Man of class.
He didn't play Exeggutor.
Yeah.
So,
Exeggutor, you know, I actually really changed my mind on that card as well. Like in the testing I've done in the last week, like going into Toronto, it was one of my cards that I was really close to playing. I think it's really, really good.
Yeah. I think me too. I think at first I thought it wasn't that good, but I'm like, all right, there's some more utility outside of just playing against Raging Bolt. Because initially I was like, I'm still unfavored into Raging Bolt. Like I don't need this. But you know, in Mirror, it's like okay sometimes. There's just like random situations where it's okay. So yeah. Yeah. I don't think we really spend much time going over the Drago list.
Yeah, I have a follow-up question to last week. Do you agree that Drago's now S tier?
Like interesting because like in my head I still don't think it's S tier. I think what happened at this tournament was like the aggro decks were like way down in play. Like if I go to the meta graphic, like I can't remember the last time Raging Bolt was 6.5%.
Yeah.
And then Miraidon was 6%, and then Roaring Moon wasn't even on the graphic. So really Regidrago is bad.
What did we put Bolt at last week?
I think we put like 8% or something.
8?
Maybe 9. But so yeah, like Regidrago just like didn't have that many bad matchups, and then like most of the good players do not play aggro decks, so it's like all the good players play Drago. They all go to the top tables, and there's just like no aggro decks for them to hit, right? So the only really bad matchups for Drago at the top tables were like me, Vincent, and like there wasn't really another bad matchup.
Well, the thing is, like with the whole like Dragos thing, is like they have to get out of the gutter first. Like the first 3 rounds are so pivotal. You got to get out of the gutter, and then if you get out of the gutter, you start playing the meta. That's always what it is.
But like the first 3 rounds, like honestly, like if you're a good Drago player, you can probably skill it for most of your opponents, right?
Yeah, you have no problems. Yeah.
So exactly. That's why I think like when I was at the top tables, like I looked over, it felt like I was just looking at like a row of Drago mirrors, like every single round. So that's what I think happened. I'm really annoyed they didn't show the best of the rest. I don't know why they didn't do that this weekend. There's honestly no reason not to.
And day 2 rate in day 1 is really high for a deck that didn't convert well.
Yeah, 7% is insane. But day 2 was kind of crazy. 22% Drago. Snorlax has been doing really well in day 2. I was looking at PokeHive earlier. And what's it called? Snorlax had really good matchups besides like Lugia. Lugia converted really well. Not a surprise, I think, since Drago was so popular, there wasn't that much lightning stuff. The Thorns Pult deck made day 2 a decent clip. But I think the best placing one was like top 64. So, yeah. The rest
deck's kind of whatever.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna come off as meta manipulation if I say I don't like it.
No, I just like, but I agree with you. Like, I think the deck is really, really slow. First of all, so like that's an issue. Your deck is really slow, and second of all, if you don't start with Thorns, your deck kind of sucks.
That's the problem to me. Like, it's so reliant on starting Thorns against a lot of the decks. So yeah. The rest of Asim, we had Asim of 12. There's 2 Gardevoirs, Henry Chow and Michael Davidson. They played similar builds, but like not exactly the same. They both played Slow Guardy with Unfair Stamp.
David a while as well.
Yeah,
right?
Davidson was rocking the Fez, and then Henry was rocking the Moonlit Hill, and only 1 Bravery
Henry
Charm.
with no Fez? Henry loves Fez.
Well, like Henry, but he's playing Slow Guardy, so he doesn't want Fez.
That's crazy.
So, yeah, I mean, I don't have much to say. Both good players, both good at playing Guardy. The Mawile I think was really smart for this tournament. There's a lot of applications. So against Charizard, for example, you can Mawile the Pidgeot, and the only way for them to get it out is the Turo, which you don't care because then like their Pidgeot's gone. You can Iono or Stamp next turn. Against Drago, Davidson won one of his top cut games this way. If they run out of Prime Catcher and switch, and they V-starred, the game's over. Miraidon plays 1 switch cart or 0. So you can just Tempting Trap and win in that matchup. Golden Go doesn't play switch. If they play the Togekiss version, Tempting Trap, Greninja, game's over. Just lots of utility for the Mawile. Your deck plays Counter Catcher, so it's not that hard to gust. So really nice innovation from them. Really liked it. And then, yeah, Hassan got top 8 with the Pidgeot control. I mean, it's just like Pidgeot control. The Toad Scroll, pretty good inclusion. Obviously, a tech for Regidrago to block the V-Star power. And then you have the Genesect to block Prime Catcher. So lots of hate there. We saw the Black Kyurem see some play. So this paralyzes Regidrago. And then like you put the Genesect, and like the only way they can switch is to play their switch. So yeah, really interesting tech.
This matchup's really interesting. Like the Drago control matchup's really interesting because like this list looks very teched out for, but even with these techs, it's not very clean for them. It's tough because like, and you saw, I'm pretty sure Hassan lost to a Drago as well, right?
Yeah, he
like,
did.
Yeah, it's not that simple.
Yeah, and then my good friend Jeremy Gibson, probably the most underrated player in the game, he lost his win into cut with Pidgeot control to Drago as well. So.
Yeah.
So I don't know, Pidgeot's out there. If you like playing Pidgeot control, it's there. And then to round out top 16, we had a couple of Trapagos, or Cloth Trapagos. Cloth was on the day 1 graphic, right? When I was looking, I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was 6%. It just didn't convert that well into day 2. Like 4. Okay, it was basically like 1% dip. Yeah, I mean, I think Cloth is here to stay. I think people like playing the deck.
Is the plural of Terrapagos Terrapagai?
I have no idea.
That's something we got to figure out because it's not Terrapagoses. It's got to be Terrapagai.
That's
right, kind of
the
lit.
Terrapagai.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the deck is here to stay. People like playing it. It has a good power level. Other than that, I was looking through. Nothing too crazy in top 32. Dennis made it with Snorlax. So did another person, Stephen Lowe. I think Cyrus and the whole group was playing Snorlax with the Klefki. So you play Klefki against Cloth, and you just bring up Root Bonnet, and like once they're out of switch cards, they can't switch again. So again, just a really cool innovation from people. They played the Enriching Energy with Pidgeot V as their draw engine. You attach, draw, and shuffle it back because they didn't play Rotom. So really, really cool way to kind of like get Rotom in the deck without having to play a 2-prizer or one that sits in your bench. So yeah, I feel like we've seen so much innovation in this format in terms of deck building, which I think is really, really awesome. Yeah, after that, we saw our first Polthorns at 41st place. Stefan's still rocking Palkia Dusknoir. I was discussing this with some people. I don't know what this beats in this format. This just feels like pure Stefan player diff that he's able to day 2 with this. He almost made top 16 if he would have won the last round, but yeah, it's just pretty standard to what we've been seeing for Palkia for a while. I don't know. I just feel like its Drago matchup's unfavored, so.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup, and like I don't know, like what made it so good before is like your matchup spread was so deceivingly positive, and now it's I don't know what you do in half these matchups. Like,
Yeah,
I have no idea.
Either.
Oh, there's another one right there too.
Yeah. Oh, really?
There
Oh, yeah, you're right here. Yeah, I know Zach played Ancient Box. I think he's the highest placing Ancient Box. Oh, he played one of the Roaring Moons. I don't know. Deck is probably tier 2.
There's our first Dengo. Our first 2 Dengos.
The first Golden Dengo was down at 62. Jay from Montreal.
Jay asked me before going to round 9. He's like, "Yo, do I ID?"
He asked me the same thing, and I literally told him, "I'm like, my opinion of you will go down if you ID." For him specifically. Just to be clear, I have no problem with you guys IDing, but I asked him if his goal was to win the tournament or make top cut. He said yes. So I'm like, hey, why are you even asking me this question? If you want to make day 2, just ID. But if you're there to win tournaments, you got to play out the last round.
Did he ID? I didn't even follow up.
No, he played.
Mm.
Yeah. And then we had an Arcaludon, our first one down here at 80. Oh, with Scizor, interesting.
Scizor, cool.
I feel like
Yeah.
no one has figured out how to play Argalodon yet, so
It really is just it reminds me of Duraludon VMAX so much. It's like the same deck.
I guess.
Crazy. Just hide behind this big ass dude doing 220 each turn. Like it honestly feels kind of fun to play. Like
Yeah.
just chill in there.
And then
There's a lost Tina. Go up.
we had wait, what? Giratina lost zone.
No, this is real. I saw this on Twitter. This is cool.
3/3 Iron Leaves. Interesting. Unfair stamp. Deacon Roxanne early. Nice. With the forest to go get
Very
it.
neat.
Yeah, Lost Zone had a really bad tournament actually. I think the highest place one was, I think I skipped it. It was like the 90s or something. Yeah, like here, Evan Zoo. Yeah, I mean, like it makes sense. I just think all the best players are playing Drago right now, and the best players aren't playing Lost Box. And even if a good player plays Lost Box, you're gonna run into a bunch of Drago once you start getting to the top. So it just feels like Lost Box is being a bit choked out of the format at the moment, and I don't think it's gonna have a chance to really shine in this format, unfortunately. If Drago just keeps trending the way it's trending. So, oh, someone with
really.
First Luna Iron Valiant. Yo, this is dope.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense, right? You start seeing these decks on the back of day 2 because they're hard to make a deep run on. But also, you know, speaking of the craziest deck, it's probably, did you see what Torreev Reklev played this weekend?
Oh, did I ever?
So, my opinion is Torreev is just bored of the game, and he wants to see how much better he truly is than everyone else. See if he can make day 2 with bad decks. We played Hydreigon. And it goes to show you, it doesn't matter how good you are, you cannot make day 2 with Hydreigon, even if you are Torreev Reklev. So he played this crazy concoction. Sorry, Neil, I cut you off. Yeah. But
go ahead.
I was gonna say, it reminded me a bit of his World's Charizard list. It plays a Rolar, or whatever his name is, a Rabska. It plays 1 TM Evo, like one of each of the stage 1s. So, very interesting list. I don't know. I don't think the deck was very good. And like Torreev was out by like round 4 or 5, I think. So
I think he just wanted to go to the Leafs game, man. He was sitting in my section. I told you. He just wanted to go to the Leafs game on Sunday, which is honestly, that's a great move. It was a great game. 5-3 win against the Sabres. He just wanted to watch his Leafs play. He has a John Tavares jersey. It's like a cultured man, bro. Very cultured man. Much respect.
That's funny. Yeah, I think Torreev's girlfriend's from like Oakville or something. So I think he's getting.
Yeah, I was chatting with her on the way down. She has like 4 jerseys apparently.
Nice. So I'm sure she's influencing him in a positive direction to support the Canadian stuff. So I think Jesper also played this deck. So these guys flew all the way to Canada to like punt their tournament. But I appreciate the memes.
That's not nice. Sure, they had a great time.
I'm sure they had a great time, but they definitely punted their tournament playing this. So
yeah, I don't know what this is.
That goes to show you, it doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't matter how good you are at this game. Play good decks.
Well, my counter argument to that would be if I'm Torreev and I win a tournament or whatever, I top 8 with like a cookie cutter Drago, I'm probably making a similar amount of money than if I day 2 with something like this.
And then you make the master class.
Yeah, just the press cost, man. Like news is good, and when you do well with something like this, people care.
That is true. I mean, Torreev is making like 10 grand on his master classes. So if he makes day, because no one's cracked Hydreigon, if Torreev makes day 2, he can be like, all right, guys, I'm teaching you how to make Hydreigon. I'm sure he'd sell it out. So that's very true, Neil. Actually, I didn't factor in the potential earnings for making day 2 with Hydreigon. I'm just not thinking on that level. My master classes don't sell 10 grand.
Your Lugia master class?
It did well. I mean, I think it's really good. A lot of people came up to me saying they really liked it and like helped them this weekend, but I don't have the same pull as Torreev.
Yeah. I don't think that's something to be too disappointed about.
No, I don't think anyone has. Maybe Azul has the same pull as Torreev now, but I don't think anyone else can compete there.
Yeah, I don't think so either. All right. Well, yeah, we went over basically everything here. We have we got to decide what we want to do next week on the shift here. It's gonna be Christmas, so
yeah.
It's either
you're right. It's Christmas on Wednesday.
Yeah, either we do something insane or we don't do anything at all. And I think I'm leaning towards let's do something insane. So we'll come up with something fun, holiday themed for next week. Just wanted to give a shout out to everybody who came up and talked to us.
Yep.
Bearman's bought bucket hats. It was bucket hat fiesta. I'm pretty sure down like 4 bucket hats now. I'm at like -4 because so many people wanted them and I had to tell people to order them. So
nice.
Yeah, thanks y'all for supporting us as always. I got to give a song for the week. What's the song? Okay, I'll give you "Heavy Is the Crown" by Linkin Park. New Linkin Park song.
Nice.
Honestly, great song. A lot of my fellow '90s babies will really enjoy that one. So,
Do you just call yourself a '90s baby?
are you a '90s baby?
I mean, like I was born in the '90s, but I don't count myself as a '90s baby.
You're a '90s baby.
Well, bro, I was
You're a
born in
90s baby, bro.
1999.
I was born in 1998. I don't know about your
Bro,
young self.
you were like 2 years old by the time like the '90s were done.
I'm your elder. Please respect me.
No.
All right, Kieran's got some. What are you doing today? Coaching or something, probably.
Yeah, I got a lot of coaching today. Back
Yeah.
on the grind right away.
Back on the grind.
Uh,
All right. Well, we will talk to y'all next week. Thank you for being here as always. Let me know down below if I'm a dirty cheater and you never want to talk to me again. I won't blame you. But yeah, we will see you next week. Thank you for being here. Peace.
Later.